2025 was a great year for gaming. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Hades 2, Death Stranding 2, Doom The Dark Ages 2. Oh no, that's wrong. Expedition 33 somehow managed to win every award available, and people are still mad today. Nintendo finally dropped the Switch 2. Overall, all positive things that genuinely got me excited about what 2026 could be. And I'm not talking about the games you already know are coming. As a massive RPG fan, this might end up being one of the strongest years the genre has had in a long time. So today, we're taking a look at some upcoming games that promise to come in strong, or at least give you some hours of play in 2026. Some of these are supposed to drop this year, others are still quite unconfirmed yet on their release dates. This time around, I've decided to put a little trust back into the gaming industry and believe that these games are going to deliver what they promised with their trailers. So without further delay, Fate Keeper. Venture into a handcrafted world where ruins whisper of past cataclysms. Master the art of the sword and sorcery and forge your path with relics, spells, and choices that shape who you become in this first-person RPG. That description doesn't really tell you anything new, but once you pair it with the imagery shown in the announcement trailer, it definitely starts to turn heads. Especially when you learn that every cinematic shown is actually reproduced in game, rather than being recreated with Unreal Engine 5 like we've seen with a lot of other titles.
Focus M.
From what you can tell at first glance, Paraglacial, the developers behind Fate Keeper, seem heavily inspired by games like Dark Messiah, since they're going for a mix of old-school first-person combat combined with a deeper RPG systems we'd come to expect from more modern releases. Those two elements together usually mean a lot of personalization, a lot of trial and error, and hopefully a lot of fun. I'm personally not the biggest fan of heavy spellcasting builds, but the way Fate Keeper mixes magic and melee looks generally promising. It reminds me of everything you do in the first 10 minutes of a new Skyrim run, right before you inevitably become Stealth Archer. Again. The gameplay trailer itself feels like it's Skyrim with mods, on steroids, and then modded again. Combat looks impactful and resourceful, although I do find the little hop dash movement a little weird. Item inspections are very Resident Evil style, which is cool, but also something to keep an eye on in the case of missing items. The menus also give off strong Elden Ring vibes, and while it wasn't fully shown, there are tabs for spells and a skill tree, which immediately raises questions about just how deep those systems are going to be. The world itself looks large and interesting. I'm still not sure whether the game is going for a full open world approach or something more semi-linear, but it's clearly designed to incentivize exploration. There is still not a lot known about weapon variety or the story, but one thing seems pretty clear. Fate Keeper is probably going to put a lot of emphasis on its boss fights. We've seen less than 10 minutes of gameplay so far, but it already promises a lot. Time will tell if it can actually deliver. Early access was originally announced for winter 2025, but it's already January and we haven't seen anything concrete. So hopefully we'll get some news this year, if not the release itself. Crimson Desert, already with a release date of March 19 and a price tag of $69.99. Damn! It does look worth it, I'm just complaining to complain. The game was originally announced in 2019, which is why a lot more is known about it compared to some other games in our list. It's developed by Pearl Abyss, the same studio behind Black Desert Online, a game I always wanted to play but never had the money for. Over the years, it has gone through several delays, mostly to polish a game this size, which ultimately pushed it all the way back to the doorstep of 2026. Crimson Desert takes place in the land of Pewell, whatever it is,
The continent of Pywell.
and promises an open world continent filled with mystery, fantasy, and tons to discover. It looks huge, but as always, the question is how alive the world feels, and if it's rewarding not using the fast travel. One of the most exciting aspects of the game is the combat. The developers have said they took elements from arcade classics and translated them into action sequences filled with combos and complex movesets. Unlike other RPGs that thrive on simpler combat mechanics, Crimson Desert is going to provide you a lot to digest. Some of the scenarios we've seen include all-out wars with multiple enemies on screen at once, forcing you to strategize your approach. It reminds me a bit of the old PS2 hidden gem, Spartan Total Warrior, but of course 21 years later. Boss fights also look like a dessert. As extensive studies not encourage, any weapon can be used and be effective within reason. Two personal highlights for me are how vivid the cities feel. You really get the sense that you are in a place where you have to work to make a name for yourself, and the sound design, which is top-notch. Footsteps, sword slashes, the echo of combat in a massive church, it's all really noticeable and immersive. Crimson Desert seems to aim to taking fantasy to the next level. We're talking battles with robots engineered by dwarven technology, dragons, bears, even dinosaurs as mounts. Incredible power-ups, an intriguing story, and a huge amount of detail that makes it really hard to want to wait for March. Clockwork Revolution. A clock that plans to conquer the world. That's it. Next, Doki Doki Literature Club 2, the highly anticipated sequel to the Reading in Class Club game. I'm joking, but I do want a Doki Doki sequel. Developed by Inxile Entertainment and published by Xbox Game Studios, so who knows if this game is ever seen the PlayStation. Steampunk games are usually not my cup of tea, but something about how Clockwork Revolution was presented during its announcement really caught my attention. Maybe it's the stylish setting, a first-person shooter taking place in this city called Avalon. Maybe it's the time-traveling premise, hence the name of the game, but what I think really grasped my attention span is the idea of choices that actively alter the course of the story. I'm an enjoyer of Butterfly Effect games. The game's campaign seems to let you fully step into the shoes of the hero/criminal with a surprisingly original character creator. You have committed a series of crimes and now you are a wanted man. Weapons appear to be highly customizable, both visually and stat-wise. The time rewind abilities also look like they can be used during combat, which opens up some really interesting possibilities. From what we've seen in the trailer, you'll be fighting both humans and robots, though it's still unclear who's good or bad. There's probably some kind of faction system at play. Ultimately, it looks like the goal is to rewrite history either toward an optimal outcome or simply the one you prefer. Clockwork Revolution was originally announced in the summer of 2023, and summer 2025 gave us the latest update on its development progress. There's still no release date or mention of a playable trial, so while 2026 is hopeful, 2027 feels more realistic. Alcahest, another dark fantasy RPG set in the medieval world of the Kingdom of Khadonor. Yes, I like medieval stuff. I live in a state of constant identity crisis, okay? Alcahest promises first-person combat where the environment isn't just there to look pretty, it actively wants to participate. Think interactive combat where positioning, physics, and surroundings can matter just as much as your sword. The story kicks off with you investigating a sudden increase in goblin raids, all with the hopes of becoming someone. We're no son of a king or a hero, but of a petty lord. Now, where Alcahest really decides to stand out is with the alchemy. The developers straight up said no to traditional magic and instead embraced the noble art of brewing questionable liquids. Potions, poisons, if it fits in a bottle, it's probably important. It's literally half the name of the game, so I believe this system is going to be absolutely crucial. While not fully shown yet, the game promises a heavy narrative focus, leading into political warfare and power struggles. Taking inspiration from Kingdom Come Deliverance for its grounded medieval drama, Dishonored for its aggressive stealth options, and Dark Messiah for that raw, no-nonsense fantasy combat. There is no official release date yet, and the game is still in active development by Push On. The original reveal trailer dropped in summer 2024, with more information following in May 25. Interestingly, the official Alcahest website includes a Google Drive packed with development material and team info. Hopefully, we get some good news soon. Light No Fire, another RPG on the list, this time brought to us by Hello Games. You know, the guys behind No Man's Sky. So when these guys promise something massive, you better believe they're going to deliver. The first 5 seconds of the trailer serves enough for me to buy. There's no release date yet, and that's a good thing. These guys are the spiritual predecessor of what happened to Cyberpunk on release, so do not expect them any early. If any, be sure there's going to be delays, for the greater good. Light No Fire is built around exploration on a fantasy planet with the size of Earth. I believe them. The game is going to be packed with adventure, building, survival elements, and unlike most games on this list, the big focus here is on the multiplayer. Everything shown in the trailer is pure eye candy to me. A vivid, rich world that promises no boundaries to a scale we've never seen before, all thanks to procedural generation. The main attraction for me is the idea of exploring something the size of Russia while being able to invite friends along and share that adventure together. Not much is known about the game yet since it was originally announced back in December 23, so realistically, this could be a 2027 or even a 2028 release. Outward 2. One of the most anticipated upcoming titles by me is a hardcore survival RPG developed by Nine Dots Studio. Throw the worst parts of DayZ and Elden Ring into a bowl, mix them together, and that's Outward. An excruciating yet incredibly rewarding experience at about a 9:1 ratio. I played the first game sometime during the pandemic and I've never stopped thinking about it since. With this sequel, the developers are doubling down on everything that makes Outward. A world where being prepared for what's coming matters matters far more than your stats. There's no hand-holding here, no quest markers, no peace of mind. You are dropped into a hostile world where you're responsible for food, water, illness, and even your own body temperature. Hell, you even have to plan where and how long to sleep. In all honesty, the first game is already a meaningful experience on its own, so a sequel that aims to smooth out the rough edges and expand on what's already built is an easy buy for me. On top of that, Nine Dots is keeping the co-op intact with online or local split screen, which is such a cozy old school touch that you rarely see anymore. The game was originally announced in March 2024 and is currently expected to release in summer 26. If you haven't played the first one yet, I generally recommend giving it a shot and let me know what you think. Hit me up even for co-op. The Blood of Dawnwalker. Developed by Rebel Wolves, a new studio founded by former CD Projekt Red developers. The Blood of Dawnwalker is a dark fantasy action RPG with a very Twilight-inspired twist. Our protagonist, Cohen, is human by day but vampire by night. Get ready for a Witcher game told by Edward Cullen. Set in the 14th century Europe, the game presents a story that's heavily driven by player choice. Quests don't seem to follow a strict structure. Instead, you're encouraged to approach them however you want, allowing you to shape how the story unfolds entirely on your own terms. A surprising amount of gameplay has already been shown, which speaks volumes about how confident the team is in what they're building. Rebel Wolves also seem very open to community feedback, something that's becoming increasingly rare with big upcoming releases.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Important question. Can you pet the cat?
I think we do consider ability to so that we should be able to pet some animals, but like
this game offers many of the elements we talk about in the other titles in this video, but The Blood of Dawnwalker looks like it will take the lead in replayability. The way you experience the world and even how you perceive it changes drastically once the sun sets, making nighttime gameplay feel fundamentally different. This game looks stupid good. The developers promise a true narrative sandbox where side quests carry just as much weight as the main story. For all this and more, The Blood of the Dawnwalker can come soon enough. It's currently set to release in 2026. Pragmata. A rare new IP from Capcom. It's going to feel weird for me seeing a classic Capcom intro and not getting a Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, or a Mega Man logo right after it. This project has been in development for about 6 years, with multiple delays along the way. Pragmata is a third-person sci-fi adventure set in a near-future lunar research facility, and right away it stands out from anything Capcom usually puts out. The game appears to revolve heavily around artificial intelligence and isolation, featuring a dual-character gameplay system that blends in a unique way for combat, exploration, and even hacking mechanics. There is a playable demo that gives you an initial taste of this. Not a lot is known of the story or the characters other than the girl name is Diana and she's an android. Capcom seems to be really quiet about this one for whatever reason, creating a lot of intrigue among the likes of me, and I'm calling it right now. My gut tells me the ending of this game is going to leave more than one strong man crying. Come back to this video when it drops April 23rd and tell me if I was wrong. Marvel's Wolverine. A single-player action game developed by Insomniac Games, the same studio behind multiple Spider-Man gems, and let's not forget Spyro the Dragon. Just like their previous Marvel titles, this is a standalone take on Logan. Picture everything Insomniac nailed with the Spider-Man games and make it now more adult, dark, and most likely much bloodier. Oh, I'm excited. This time, we finally get to play a superhero who genuinely does not care about incoming damage. In the brief footage we've seen, the game looks action-packed all the way to your cereal bowl. Small glimpses of the map already suggest this won't be some tiny, linear experience, and since Logan isn't nearly as fast or agile as Peter Parker, something roughly half the size of Spider-Man's New York will still feel absolutely massive in this context. That reveal trailer did Wolverine a ton of justice, from the attitude, to the violence, to the overall tone. Finally. The game was announced back in September 2021 and is currently expected to release sometime around this year. The only bad news, it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive. I literally just bought one, so if Sony announces a PlayStation 6 in the next 18 months, I'm punching a hole in the wall and pretending I'm not hurt. Phantom Blade Zero. This is another upcoming action RPG brought to you by S-Game, a very cinematic third-person action proposal that is sure to give you something to talk about. Set in a dark fantasy world where everything somehow looks beautiful and deadly at the same time. Of course, the real star of the show is the extremely fast, combo-heavy combat system that the developers are looking to introduce as Kung Fu Punk. Inspired by the golden age of Hong Kong action films, Phantom Blade Zero blends brutal martial arts with machinery, creating an exhilarating clash of steel on steel. Ancient codes meet iron and smoke, tradition pulses to a modern beat, a new style is forged in this collision of eras. This is Kung Fu Punk. You step into the shoes of Soul, a warrior framed and hunted by his former comrades, caught in a dark conspiracy with the goal of cleaning your name. Over 30 weapons, combined with more than 20 unique phantom edges, allowing you to mix and match abilities and tailor the combat to your personal playstyle. Set to launch on September 9, I might just take that day off work. As a kid, I used to play MMORPGs constantly, especially after school. That was the genre for me. Now looking back, I think I haven't touched one in 10 years maybe. Still, a few upcoming titles have caught my attention, and these are the ones that actually look promising. Soulframe. It's an action MMO brought to you by Digital Extremes. Yes, the same studio that had all of us grinding for days in Warframe. This time around, they're ditching the sci-fi and going all in on a fantasy world full of myth, nature, and spirits. But instead of space ninjas, it's a Warframe set in an open world, and the choice is sword, bow, or magic rather than guns. It's very appealing to me. Currently on a pre-alpha build, so no release date yet. Chrono Odyssey. It's a real-time action combat MMORPG that generally looks next-gen. What really sets it apart is its chrono abilities, letting you slow, freeze, or rewind time to completely change how fights play out. The raids, the dungeons, and bosses shown in the closed beta tests really reminded me of what Terra Online used to deliver back then. I'm excited to see what it ends up looking like with a current release window set for late 26. Arcade Chronicles. It's a successor to the original MMO, set in the same universe, but redesigned for a more modern gaming experience. It leans heavily into a real-time action combat while bringing back familiar systems and enhancing them in ways that aim to be immersive for both returning players and newcomers. The idea is to respect the legacy of Arcade without being trapped by it. Originally planned for 2025, it looks like 2026 might be the more realistic release window. Now, let's go with some optional / honorable mentions. Fears to Fathom Scratch Creek. This is one of the games I'm personally looking forward to the most. Fears to Fathom has become a very popular episodic horror series, taking real-life stories and turning them into playable nightmares. Rail is back for another season. This time around, Scratch Creek introduces a co-op experience which could definitely affect the overall scare factor, but might end up being way more fun because of it. There is no official release date yet, but judging by their track record, it should be dropping sometime in the next few months. Not included in the main list because Fears to Fathom episodes rarely go over 90 minutes. Resident Evil Requiem. I already bought it, I don't really need to explain myself here. Leon is back, so I'll see you all February 27th because we're 100% playing this game on release. Until then, I'll be replaying Resident Evil Survivor, the very first one. The Wolf Among Us 2. Everyone knows how Telltale Games turned graphic adventures into something special, and The Wolf Among Us is still one of my favorite narrative games ever made. Unfortunately, the studio has gone through more downs than ups since The Walking Dead Season 3. The Wolf Among Us 2 was announced back in 2019 and originally planned to be released in 2023. So at this point, who knows if Sheriff Bigby Wolf will ever see the light of the day again. Fable is coming back, hopefully sometime this year. The Witcher 4 didn't show up at the Game Awards, so a 2027 release feels more realistic. The Elder Scrolls 6, I was underage when that game was announced, even Todd Howard admits they probably shouldn't have revealed that early. And of course, Grand Theft Auto 6. No need to talk about it, if you follow me, you already know I'm replaying every GTA leading up to it, so pull up to the stream. And with that, I think we covered all the games I wanted to talk about today. Imagine all these games flop and this video ends up being misleading. That'd be fun. But at least we'll learn to put in the work and do some research for more informational videos. For the optimistic-minded players out there, I truly believe we're heading into one of, if not the most successful years in gaming we've seen in a long time. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my gaming monologue.